Hello all, welcome to Will Toronto U.S Coffee Chat series. My name is Miley Zhang and I'm the Will Toronto U.S social media designer, as well as a third-year student from Western Ivy. And today I'm here with Ally Chimienti-Shoveller. And Ally is the human resources business partner at RBC Capital Markets. With rich experiences in mentorship, human resources project, and event management, Ally is currently supporting the global markets and all emerging talent programs in RBC Capital Markets. It's great to see you here. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Miley.
Today I'm going to be asking a few questions on behalf of students like me. And so the first question I have for you would be, what do you as a hiring manager look for in someone you're hiring?
Yeah, so for me personally, when I'm reviewing a resume for somebody that I'm looking to hire on my team, I'm looking for some examples of deliverables. So everybody, when they're in university, has kind of a variety of experiences, and looking to show really clear examples of things that you've actually done in your roles or at school, on teams, in project work, in volunteering, just being able to show that you can demonstrate some skill sets that are being looked for in the job description. So for me personally, when I'm hiring on my team, a lot of the time I'm looking for experience in project management or event management. So being able to see on a resume, here's a project that I ran from start to finish, these are the things that I delivered on, that's something that really stands out to me because I already know before even having an interview with the person that they have that experience I'm looking for.
The second question I have for you would be, what skill do you think a student should pick up from outside of school?
So something I'd recommend doing outside of school. So skills, I think, is very broad and it would really depend on what you're looking on doing, but something that I would recommend to do to develop some skills. I understand it's difficult when you're in university to also have kind of a part-time job. So what I always recommend doing is getting volunteer experience. There's a ton of volunteer programs that give really, really great hands-on exposure to a variety of different topics and different skills. So if there's a skill that you're really looking to develop a little bit more, being able to volunteer is a good way to get exposure to that without needing to kind of seek out a job. And there's tons of organizations that are always looking for volunteers. So there's always a really good fount of opportunities for that.
The third question I have for you would be, could you offer some advices for students aiming for leadership roles in the future?
Yeah, so one of the things that I have led quite a lot at RBC and external to RBC as well is the idea of personal brand. So I always encourage people to kind of early on to sit down and actively think about your own personal brand. So look to develop that. What is it about you that you want people to say about you when you leave the room? What is it that you want to leave an impression on people about yourself? And really look to determine that brand for yourself and then also to build it as you go forward. It's super important to kind of know yourself before you expect anybody else to look at you or to put you into a role of leadership. So doing that kind of introspection to start off is a really great way to lead. And then also to kind of stand out in roles which would eventually develop you into a more leadership position as you go on. I always recommend putting your hand up for everything. It sounds pretty simple, but being somebody that your team can rely on or your manager can rely on is always super important. And putting your hand up for something that you have the capacity to do. So not putting your hand up for something and then not being able to do it, that's never great. Putting your hand up, being able to execute and do a really good job makes you stand out to others. So that's something that I would recommend.
The last question would be if you could offer some advices for students applying for next summer's internships, like me.
So what I would kind of recommend for that is it's always helpful to have somebody review your resume for you. Although you may have looked at it, several hundred times, a new set of eyes is always really good and refreshing to have a different take on it. Even if you think your resume is perfect, there's probably something that could be changed or tweaked or done even better. And the resume is kind of your first impression on any hiring manager. So really make sure that you take a good look at that, presenting it really well in a way that represents you, depending on what role you want to apply for. That may be pretty classic and structured. That could be really, colorful and digitally enhanced, I'll say. So it really depends on how you want to showcase yourself. But I would really focus on that. And then also understanding when different organizations are actually recruiting to make sure that you don't miss any deadlines. I say that with a lot of importance. RBC will be posting postings from December 17th to January 17th, which is very early. So definitely keep an eye out for those roles that are going to be coming up. Other organizations will be looking to post probably around the same time, so January and February. So you'll definitely want to make sure that you actually get to apply for those roles. So start brushing up on your resumes now to prepare for the January and February recruiting cycles.
Right. I'll definitely add those deadlines to my calendar. Thank you so much for your advices. And at this point, I'll wrap up this coffee chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to our viewers, please stay tuned for our next coffee chat series. See you next time.